This is one of the best no-frills workhorse cards out there. Hey guys, Sebastian from AskSebby, and it looks like travel season, credit card season is in full swing, especially if we look at TSA numbers. Today we're going to look at one of the most competitive cards in the fray that I think is pretty underrated, and that's going to be the Citi Premier. Big favorite before we dive into all of this, as always, is to give this a thumbs up to help with that algorithm. And if you are someone who is new here and you want to maximize your cash back or maybe do a cool trip, then consider subscribing. To me, there's 3 reasons why the Citi Premier is interesting. The first one is the fact that you can cash it out. Second one is that travel upside. And third one is because it's built different. Okay, third one is because it's a pretty strong performer and also you have a lot of optionality. Let's start off with the intro bonus because I think that's what a lot of people are here for, and you're going to get 80,000 thank you points, so these are Citi points, after $4,000 in purchases within the first 3 months of account opening. They do mention that this is limited time, but they don't have a specific date, so if you are someone interested, then I would do it sooner rather than later. In the past, we've seen the Citi Premier at 50,000 points and then float up to 60,000, but it's been pretty flat otherwise, so this is a pretty big elevation. Be aware that there is a $95 annual fee, but regardless of how you use that intro bonus, it should easily pay for itself, in the same way that you would probably pay $9 in order to get something like $80. At a minimum, 80,000 thank you points are worth 1 cent per point, meaning that 80,000 times 0.01, that's going to be $800 in value. So when you log into your Citi Premier account, below the balance, you see the points that you have. You then see a bunch of options and you're looking for more ways to redeem. Select a Citi Premier card, and this brings you to thankyou.com, which is their portal. And if you hover up top and you go to the cashback section, you can see an option to redeem your points. 3 easy ways to do this. You can redeem it as a statement credit, so paying off the balance of the card, a direct deposit even into a non-Citi account, and then number 3 is if you want a check mailed to you. For all 3 of these options, whether statement credit, whether it's a direct deposit into your bank account, or whether it's a check mailed to you, it's still 1 cent per point. So 80,000 points is going to be $800. So $800 in value for $4,000 a minimum spend. That's going to be 20% return on spend for that intro bonus portion. We'll talk more about this towards the middle of the video, but there are downgrade paths into no annual fee cards, so don't worry about the annual fee too much because it might not be relevant after the first year. On that note, if you're someone interested in this card or pretty much any other card out there, we do have links down below in the description box and also on our website, AskSebby.com. Make sure the links are competitive, but otherwise pretty huge way to support the channel. And for someone who wants to get maximum value, especially if you want to do a cool trip, then you'd want to transfer these points out to Citi's partners. Using this method, you could easily get something like 2 cents per point, if not substantially higher. So 80,000 points times 0.02, that's $1,600 in value. Factoring in the $4,000 minimum spend requirement, that's going to be a 40% return on spend. 2 cents per point is the number that I'm reasonably okay giving, especially for a video like this, but technically if you look at the math, it ends up being closer to 8 to maybe 10 cents per point in a lot of cases. So getting to this part is pretty similar, but you're looking to transfer out to partners. One thing to be careful with is that you don't want to do that transfer until you have a specific use case and you're ready to book. The moment you transfer out from Citi thank you points to these partner points, it's locked into that other program, so you don't really want to do that. You want that optionality. Tons of different options here, and I would strongly consider where you want to go, the products you want to try, and which one actually gives you the most value for your points that fits what you're looking for. For example, I'd probably avoid Aeromexico unless you're doing around the world SkyTeam redemption. Same thing for Asia Miles except for it's one world. Or if you're doing Cathay or Qatar first. Life Miles are pretty good for Lufthansa first, but you can also buy these. Emirates for their first class given the Alaska nerf. Etihad we'll do an example of, so don't worry too much. EVA's super complicated, so I probably would avoid it unless you really want to fly EVA. Flying Blue's fine if there's a sale for Air France or KLM. Intermiles, I actually have no clue what this is. JetBlue is similar to Southwest in that you get good fixed value, but you're looking at about 1.2 to 1.3 cents per point. Enrich, I would not touch with a stick because it just doesn't really make sense. Qantas if you want to fly their first class product, or Emirates Business. Qatar, I'd probably avoid maybe some American airline sweet spots. Singapore will do an example of. Thai, I would strongly avoid because it's super confusing and doesn't really make sense for us. Turkish passes on the fuel surcharges, but it might make sense for something like Air New Zealand. Last one is Virgin Atlantic, which we've talked about in a ton of other videos. I'll run through 2 examples because otherwise I'm probably going to bore people. We'll start off with the most interesting one if you want to do the coolest trip. For that one, I'd probably transfer your points from thank you to Singapore KrisFlyer, so 86,000 points to fly Singapore Suites from JFK, New York to Frankfurt. Pretty much the intro bonus plus the minimum spend requirement that you're doing for that card, and then maybe a little bit more. So either transfer some points from Chase, or if you have additional Citi points, then that would be a pretty good use case as well. So this is the one where you have a seat and then you also have a bed. If you have a player 2, then they can actually lower the walls so that you can pretty much sleep next to each other. Retail for this is about $6,500 divided by 86,000 points. That's 7.6 cents per point. Main takeaway is that it's great value, especially if it opens you up to a new experience that would otherwise be more difficult. If you want to add 12 hours to the flight and fly all the way to Singapore, then it's going to be 132,000 points. Retail is actually not that bad comparably, so about $7,600, about 5.8 cents per point. So arguably you're getting less value here, but I think it's still a pretty good redemption. Our mark is at least 2 cents per point, and we're way above that. If you're someone who doesn't want to blow the load of points, then option number 2 is for you. You transfer from Citi Thank You points to Etihad Airways in order to book Brussels Airlines. It's 44,000 points one way or 88,000 points round trip for business class from JFK to Belgium. If you're someone going to Europe this summer, then this could easily cover your round trip flights, and if you have a player 2, then they can do the same thing. If you're looking to go for about a week, retail price is $3,000. That's actually not too bad, and I think it's within the realm of what the fat fire people happily pay. Still though, I'd rather use 88,000 points to lock in that $3,000 in value, and that's 3.4 cents per point, which is above the 2 cents that we're looking for. Unlike a lot of other cards out there, one thing I like about the Premier is that it's relatively no nonsense. So you don't have a bunch of credits to worry about, and you don't have a bunch of partnership-like things. You do have an annual fee of $95, and you have to figure out whether you spend enough money in order to justify it. You get 3x back for a bunch of categories that normal people spend money on, such as restaurants, supermarkets, as well as gas stations. Gas stations is a pretty good one because a lot of the other cards out there don't have it on their personal ones, they have it on their business cards. Or alternatively, they might have it as a category every quarter, and it's capped off, rather than being something unlimited. You also get 3x back for hotels and also air travel, and 1x back everywhere else. The main disadvantage is that it's no frills, so you don't have a lot of the travel benefits that you would expect. If you don't care, then that's great, but if you do, you might either want to buy it separately or rely on your renter's insurance. One tactic that people use if you're doing transfer partners is, even though that's mostly covered by points, you do have taxes and fees, and you can use another card that does have those travel benefits. So even though you might only be paying $25 in taxes on the CSP or something, that would actually cover that whole redemption. Speaking of the CSP, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, what if you're someone who already has that card? In most cases, there's nothing really stopping you from getting both bonuses, and given the downgrade paths, I think that makes the most sense, especially for people who have relatively lower spend, so let's say less than $3,000 to $5,000 a month, then intra bonuses move the needle the most compared to your normal category spend. Depending on the other cards you want to add into your arsenal, it might even be worth burning a 524 slot given the elevated offer. What if you're deciding between the Chase Sapphire Preferred and also the Citi Premier? Which one should you get first? Ironically, I'd probably go for the Premier first because Citi has been a little bit more finicky compared to Chase. With Chase, you know that there's 524 and also 230, but with Citi, it's kind of all over the place. Some people are getting rejected even though they're 0 of 6, while other people are getting approved even though they're 3 of 6 or 4 of 6 or 6 of 6. Long term, if you decide to run a different setup, then you can downgrade the Premier into a Citi Double Cash. I would argue that this is actually one of the best moves because the Citi Double Cash doesn't really have a juicy intro bonus, so this is the way of getting a good intro bonus while still eventually getting the Double Cash. So in effect, you're getting $800 in cash or $1,600 plus in travel value to try out the Premier to see if you like it, and if not, you have that downgrade path to that good card that people generally want to have anyways. With Citi cards, you're not getting married right away, you're dating to see if it's a fit, and if not, you can downgrade it into a friendship. That probably sounded a lot cornier than I wanted, but I think it's a good analogy. Again, if you want to learn about this card or pretty much any other card out there, and you want to support the channel, we do have links down below in the description box, and also on our website, AskSebby.com. Completely unrelated promotion, but if you're someone looking for a new brokerage, you can get 2 free shares from Webull for opening an account and depositing $5. The reason for the promotion is because they recently added fractional shares, allowing normal people to invest in companies that would otherwise be prohibitively expensive. Promo is supposed to end on July 20th, so check it out, link down below. My question for you guys is, what are your thoughts on the Citi Premier card, and are you someone considering it? Also, what are you looking to do with the intro bonus? Maybe you're doing some remodeling for your deck or some other outdoorsy stuff for your house, or maybe you're doing traveling. Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Like it, subscribe, and share with anyone else who benefit, but otherwise, hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.